you know, banned against stats online. Yeah, a lot of teams will leave up Udi or seemingly Closer's not one of the players who brings it up. It taxes a ban there for 100 Thieves. They're going to grab Hecarim instead, which will give the team some really strong engage and still a fast clear.
It feels like it pairs well with a lot of the kind of champions that people are playing in the meta currently. A lot of dive comps, it feels like these days. Hecarim can pair well with things like Shen that's gaining popularity, can pair well with Kaisa, with Tristana. A lot of the champions that do have the ability to go in to follow up. The meta for supports is also very heavily towards engage. You know, the Alistars, the Threshes of the world are so incredibly popular. Rell in there also. So we will see what they want to pair that with, but Kaisa being taken away, wouldn't be surprised to just honestly get a Rell coming through right now, but they prefer to actually just take their jungle pick here. You know, I generally like holding your jungle pick to the next round if there's something that you think might be contested, because jungle feels like such a wide open pool and you are going to give up the Rell there. The advantage, of course, of picking it here is that you get to see more of what your opponents are doing and then potentially get some sort of a lane counter. So if you want to answer the Rell, you could go towards a Janna or Morgana or whatever else you want to look towards, but Rell is just so high value, and honestly, we haven't really seen the answers, so to speak, like Janna, really work out. And you can argue that it's just execution, but very clearly Rell has been doing well in pretty much all games. So they are going to go Rakan here, which does feel like you're going to be pretty far on the back foot. It will be some very powerful engage for the team fighting, giving away in for Kaisa, being able to follow up on any sort of Skarner picks. But I do think that the 2v2 feels pretty heavily in the favor of the Tristana as well as this Rell, assuming that the Tristana isn't going mid.
So definitely interesting to see, as you mentioned, Golden Guardians grabbing Skarner early when it wasn't under, you know, any constraints, saying, well, we want to make sure we get counterpick there. Maybe they were expecting mid lane to be the option, you know. The thought was, yeah, they could grab Rell here and then be countered, but Rell doesn't seem to have that many bad matchups and, you know, still holding mid, but not willing to suffer more jungle bans maybe. Either way, this is their death they've got. Both teams have bot lanes, both teams have jungles. Golden Guardians are going to be the first to pick a solo lane, and then they get counterpick as well. We'll see if that goes to AblazeOlive or Niles. Right now, though, Aurelia is off the table. I think 100 Thieves thinking about what's Rama's pool, what's he likely to play? Is he the one getting counterpicked? That's probably true. So Aurelia's going to counter what I'm probably going to play. Okay, we think you're going to play Azir. Aurelia's a good matchup, so Azir's off the table now as well.
Yeah, taking that out, taking out the Gragas top, very likely for Ssumday. Perhaps worried about something there, which could mean that they are looking towards a top lane last pick, trying to get a counter, because Gragas honestly doesn't really have any counters in lane right now. He feels like, yes, there are some matchups where you have to give up a bit, but because of his passive, you just put a couple points in W, even in those tough matchups, and you can sustain very well through that. Niles getting targeted a bit more here with the GP ban. So they've banned out the Azir, they take away the Orianna. Those are the two champions that Ryoma has shown in the LCS thus far. Of course, he can play more than that. You know, mostly sticks towards those control mages, but did play 2 games of Lucian in Academy this split as well. So that is always going to be an option. Shen, I love the pairing. I mentioned that when the Hecarim did get locked in. I think it's a good blind pick as well. And Sylas, there's a lot of good ults to actually steal here. So Sylas mid, you can take the Orianna ult. Rakan ult is one of the best ones that you can actually steal. The Skarner ultimate is fairly powerful there as well. So already, I'm liking this 100 Thieves draft quite a lot. With the GP banned out, you have to get, you know, pretty off meta, I feel like, to actually counter Shen from here. Pantheon doesn't feel like it's it to me. You can go Pantheon, but I feel like Shen can actually deal well with this matchup. And when you're going to go Pantheon, you have to then have your jungler up there, right? They did one Pantheon top game earlier, and it was more in kind of what I consider to be a more advantageous Pantheon matchup. And Iconic literally just never ganked. He never went up there, and it ended up actually being Niles getting picked on because he was trying to play aggressive. He was trying to play in his opponent's face. And I do think if you want to go Pantheon, you have to play towards that lane. You have to try to get him to have priority so that he has freedom to then move, right? If he's locked under his turret, he can't be ulting mid lane. He can't be moving around the map and 2v2ing with his jungler. We've got to see a good pairing here from Niles and Iconic, I think, if they want this to be effective, because this is a very snowbally pick that can look pretty worthless if you are behind. And over on the other side, you know, Shen is going to be valuable even behind, ahead. You just always are a strong champion.
Yeah, that ult's great, and it doesn't scale off anything but your level. So as long as you get 11 or 6 or whatever, that ult's full value and you're ready to go. The taunt's going to be the same duration no matter what. It'll be fun to watch for. One thing I want to point out in this game is it's Realma's first time getting to counterpick his lane. His first 2 games out of Thieves were both losses. He didn't look very good. We're not saying it's specifically his fault that he's the reason they lost, but he didn't look good in losses. This will be his 3rd game on the starting roster in the LCS, and this time he gets to react to the mid lane pick instead of having to blind the champion in his role. So I'm expecting to see better things out of him. As you mentioned earlier, there are a lot of good options here for Sylas to steal, so more hopeful there on top of it. And we are going to be onto the Rift, looking at this 5-on-5 here. 100 Thieves hoping to keep that battle going. They would love to have an upper bracket berth in the playoffs, but that means you got to finish top 4. And look, 2nd through 6th are all within 1 game of each other, 100 Thieves included.
It's going to be a pretty important game here for them. And also for Ryoma, because like you said, you know, he hasn't played particularly bad, he hasn't played particularly good. I don't think it's fair to blame him for the losses by any means, but it does feel like if you come in and you go 0-3, including another loss here against Golden Guardians, then maybe the Ryoma experiment ends, right? And if that's me, I'm feeling some pressure to get a win here against one of these teams that is at the bottom end of the table. And we'll see if he's going to be able to show up here. As you said, did get the counter pick, is going to be going fleet, pretty standard stuff, just trying to withstand the pressure from this melee versus ranged matchup early on, and then utilize, you know, a lot of that skirmishing power that he's going to have, and some of these really powerful ultimates that he can steal in order to help dive with, you know, really they have a 4-man dive squad here, and Tristana who can follow it up. I mean, if you steal away the Rakan ultimate, you have Hecarim, Shen combo going in, Rell to follow that up, you have a potential stolen Rakan ultimate with Sylas flying in. That is a tremendous amount of engage, and AblazeOlive and Stixxay are going to have to play really safe.
All right, well, Niles waiting for the shield to pop out. Finally gets the couple of autos in. Conqueror's on, gets 1 grasp back, gets an extra Q. Pretty good damage overall. We'll see when the next sets of cooldowns come back. Ssumday has grasp yet again, but another empowered Q. And Niles, nice play right there. Yeah, Ssumday took the greedy path into lane. Niles with an aggressive ward in the river spotted the route in and gets a nice trade. Yeah,
that is really well done there by Niles. That's the kind of start you do want, as you said, getting multiple Qs out there. Of course, just using the Q tap instead of actually a thrown spear to get the cooldown refund, as he was connecting there. And Ssumday now going to be on the back foot here already. Of course, when you are pushing, that is when you have to do be pretty worried about potential ganks. It is Hecarim, so you can play it safe, but Niles still feeling confident.
Niles, listen, confident not only in this lane, confident in his team. Listen, math doesn't matter, all right? It's just numbers. Niles is going to fight you no matter what, and he's going to try to make that win anyway. He's talking about summer, obviously.
He's talking about spring. I like the confidence. We'll see how it works out for him. Ssumday on 1 farm right now. We'll see how much he can actually pick up under his tower, but it is a bit of a rough start. He even went W second, you could see there. But a missed timing. He actually gets stunned as he popped his W, so that's going to be on cooldown. Didn't actually get anything with it because the Keyblade was not on top of himself when he actually propped it, so he does end up wasting that, and it's just going to be a quick reset. So Niles just does a 3-wave push back to his base, and we'll see if they can get anything here with this trade.
Good chunk of damage, but Huhi's going to get a lot on the way back out. That's the difficulty of these sort of hard pushes is, yeah, you just slowly walk away as Rell, and the trade ends up going pretty close to equal. Health relief for FBI, more important, obviously, so he's going to feel pretty good. Newbie trading back and forth, and as long as Rakan is able to get some free hits and keep the gold income going, you're going to feel really, pretty good about Spell Thieves.
I will say, though, gotten all the potions already out of the Golden Guardian's bottom lane. So that is kind of the concern here, right? Is it's like, oh, the health's pretty even. Well, not really, because you've already used all your potions, and they're setting up here for a potential dive. We'll see if Huhi can land it.
The flash stun's coming in. Rocked over the top. Stixxay trying to kite away. Staying alive as long as he can. He's running back. The Ignite is on. The Summoner Heal will keep him alive. The tower dive still forces 3 Summoners out of Golden Guardians. They will lose the wave, but at least they will survive.
Yeah, they do survive there. You like the aggressive attempt. Ssumday going to have to taunt to safety, and that wave is pushing away from him. So this is actually really awkward for him. He doesn't know where Skarner is. We'll see if he even wants to TP back to that lane. Roma taking a good amount of damage here. I like the attempt from 100 Thieves. It feels like they have really been kind of pulling back on some of these early game plays that they had been going for very frequently early on when you talk about lock-in, when you talk about those early weeks of the split.
And the trades keep going topside, and honestly, yeah, Niles having TP, like this is like one of the best feelings in top lane as far as I can tell, when your opponent TP's back and you're still equal in resources. Yep. You're like, all right, I'll get you as low as I can. I will shell out my health bar, my mana pool, and then I will TP back in at 10, after 10%, and your lane's over, and I'm going to get control afterwards. So we'll see how much Niles can get done, as long as it's not too risky, because if he plays down the 10% and closes there, he's dead instead.
Exactly, and that is that line you're trying to walk. As you say, you're trying to tax their resources when you are going to TP back. So in this case, he doesn't want to play it too risky, but may want to hang around for this wave, see if you can actually hold it into a bit of an awkward position, because if you're Ssumday, you are pretty nervous right now playing without your TP. Any sort of gank that comes in is very, very punishing. Niles, of course, had that really good level 1 start and was able to get the full reset, and that's something that he has really struggled with, is just the minion wave management. Is at times he has been trying to push and the wave is getting stalled out, he's not winning by enough, and he kind of gets into these awkward spots where he's not sure if he should reset, he's not sure if he should try to push it out, and that's where he's often having a lot of his deaths, is to actually jungle attention due to improper wave management, but getting pretty low here and likely will be forced to now use that recall. Skarner is going to be spotted on a ward over by those Krugs, so 100 Thieves will have full information here, and Ssumday should be able to push this out and then just get out of there. We'll see if there's an aggressive TP coming in from Niles to try to freeze that wave. But the wave should push back, actually. It looks like it's stacked enough that I think it'll be fine for Ssumday.
Looks like it's going to be the case. We'll see if the cannon ever goes down or if it's going to be left up for the Shen. Seems likely. Closer, though, as you had mentioned, they had spotted Iconic on a ward a little while back. So Closer, with his bot lane having pressure, with the mid lane pretty close, and knowing Skarner's on the wrong side of the map, that is going to be a pretty quick dragon pickup. Well done, 100 Thieves. Very consistently, they stack up the early dragons. I guess they don't always get sold. That's EG who's winning in that metric, but 100 Thieves are second place in Dragon Souls, and it's stuff like this. They always find the time to grab it in the first 7 minutes.
And it's always nice. Even if you don't end up getting a Dragon Soul, it can actually put a lot of pressure on your opponents later on in the game. We'll see if Iconic can smite that away. And he can. Nicely done. Because if you get to that 3 dragon mark, your opponents basically have to show up to the dragon every time, and it gives you the opportunity to then say, okay, well, this one we're actually not going to go for. We're going to threaten a Baron, or we're going to take some towers, or we're going to steal away your jungle, whatever. You have options, and it really limits your opponent's options. So I think that's one of the things that is pretty powerful about that. And also to touch on the jungler builds here a bit, we're seeing so much lucidity as an early pickup here for the junglers these days. It feels like on a lot of these kind of farm to 6 style champions, people are really prioritizing the playmaking, having the summoner spell cooldown reduction, as well as just the early tier 2 boots for the move speed. It has been gaining in popularity. Of course, your clear is slower. Your first item completion, that mythic, is going to be slower, but is not a lot of early game power.
Pretty big engage, though. Stixxay getting jumped on by every single person possible. Double kill for the explosion. FBI. I want that to count as 2 first blood. So more than 100% now for him in this game.
Oh my God. They just got destroyed. A great engage there from Huhi coming through in Closer in the river. Not spotted. Able to follow up very, very nicely. They just got completely comboed by everything as they go together here. You can see jumping in, the stun to follow it up. The ultimate comes through, and the stun did catch both, as we saw that Newbie actually jumped to Stixxay there to shield him up. So they both get stunned, they both get feared. The explosive charge blows them both up, and FBI with 2 quick kills, plus he's up a good amount of farm here, is such a big deal for 100 Thieves, because this Tristana is going to be so difficult to deal with and has so many members that are going to be fighting in front of him, that are going to be diving in and creating space for him already. It's going to be very tough to deal with FBI this game.
It's good to revisit, though, the spot. You can see the flash still coming back up for Stixxay. It was burned from the earlier tower dive about 4 minutes ago, and they came back. There's no way to dodge it. Maybe some egg on Stixxay's face for allowing Huhi to just walk up and press W. It wasn't like it was a flash play. He just crashed down. It's like, you can't just take those hits, so maybe a mistake on the one side, but still good of them to get the 3v2, good of them to get the kills. You can see a 600 gold lead right now to 100 Thieves. The farm has been going the way of Golden Guard. You can see more camps for Iconic, more farm for Niles, more farm for AblazeOlive. That's all going nicely, but who cares? Tristana's got 2 kills and a CS lead.
Yep, and they are going to have that Rift Herald as well. When's the last time you saw support with the Rift Herald? Because I can't remember a single time I've seen that in so long. So Huhi will have that. It means it's going to be more gold in the pocket of FBI, almost guaranteed when they do drop it. Of course, there is that slight farm advantage here for Niles, more minions for him to pick up, but honestly, as the Shen, you are feeling pretty good about this, especially due to how that level 1 actually shook out. It did give Niles a pretty big advantage, but now in the mid lane,
Nice. Shockwave going to pull AblazeOlive in. Hecarim can't get the rest of it going, though. AblazeOlive manages to run away and stay alive. Huhi running around. Went for cooldown boots himself, by the way. So Huhi's going to have more flashes, more ults. That'll be nice to track down the line as the primary engage or secondary engage of the team. Both horses going to do pretty well.
Yeah, this combo really has been so popular. Rell Hecarim seems like we see it in quite a few of the games. This is a bit interesting. You know, for the most part, we've actually been seeing damage Hecarim. This is looking like it's going to be a tank Hecarim, so very likely going to see chem tank, I would assume, here in this build, now that we already have the Bombi coming through. I can't remember seeing this in the LCS, at least. It feels like almost always
Gekko's played it this
Divine,
week, but
okay. So,
but that's
you know,
at
least in the LCS, it's been pretty much Divine Sunderer. Their composition isn't extremely high on damage, but I guess the thought process is, hey, I just need to get tanky. My AD is already fed. Tristana's going to bring the damage. I just need to be able to actually dive in and soak up pressure, you know, push back the Kaisa, push back the Orianna, and FBI is going to get everything else done.
For what it's worth, I looked up solo queue win rates. Chem tank is well above both Divine Sunderer and Trinity Force, either
Makes
one.
sense.
So at least as far as solo queue is concerned, you know, being willing to play the tank, it's a positive for you in pro play. We are seeing it gain some traction. So yeah, I mean, good on closer to kind of keep up with the builds. I mean, Chem tank is like third most popular mythic for him, so it's the new emerging build. It's not the common one, but I think it's a good one. They've got plenty of tanks, don't get me wrong, but it's not like Tristan, Sylas can't do damage in fights, so here comes the Herald Summon. They've got the first plate down already, but they've got to wait for the wave. This won't kill the turret, but it will mean some more damage. FBI should get his share because he tagged the turret recently, and we'll see if they can knock down the rest of it over the next 2.5 minutes. Otherwise, Ssumday, -8 CS topside, yeah, that feels completely fine. You're Shen.
Exactly, and Niles hasn't used an ultimate yet this game, really. You know, so that's kind of what you want to get done when you're playing Pantheon. You know, it's not as bad as old Pantheon because you are going to have, you know, your shield to be able to block damage after you go in. You're always going to have the point and click stun, so there is some utility there. But generally speaking, you play this champion to try to bully lanes and then get out of lane and roam, right, to be able to attack the enemy mid laner. But they haven't really been able to do that whatsoever, so we'll see if they can find engages and really be successful with here later on.
Yeah.
And Under Thieves going to be starting up another dragon.
We know this was the hope for Golden Guardians here, right? We heard from Anero a few days ago. He's like, look, I don't care if they lose. I want them to go down fighting, though. I don't want the game where they're like, well, we did nothing and our Nexus died. Like, he wants to see plays that, I mean, he wants to see ones that work out, but even plays that, you know, just barely don't, where it's like, well, with more practice, that was going to be a win. And you say, look, and, you know, in a couple of weeks' time, a couple months' time, we would have had the experience that this would have been a victory instead of us rolling over. But a Pantheon who is only in lane, like that is the opposite of what you want to see. You do want to see him get the plays. We know he has lane pressure. Want to see that dive onto the Sylas, something that, you know, happened cross map. Find the Rakan engage, find the Skarner to come along with. They've got the tools for it. Just need to see him pull the trigger. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves on 2 Dragons, on 1,000 gold, on the way to a victory.
Yeah, looking good thus far. Of course, Kaisa scales well, Orianna scales well. There's still powerful engage and pick tools with Rakan and the Skarner, as well as the ability to maybe catch someone on the side lane with that Pantheon. So it's not all doom and gloom. There are 4 Golden Guardians, but it does feel like 100 Thieves are playing the game at the pace that they want. They've gotten all the neutral objectives. They have 2 kills on their carry. You know, he is quite far ahead of Stixxay at this point, is going to be able to get the first tower gold here solo, putting him even further ahead of Stixxay on that Kaisa, so that is a pretty big concern. I also just think in general, Tristana is probably the easiest marksman to actually play from an advantage. It feels like because you have so much range, because you have self-peel, it's not like you're playing a Lucian from ahead where, you know, you're at this medium short range and really at danger of getting taken out. It feels generally easiest to play first.
Ryoma forcing the flash away from AblazeOlive. That shotgun would have guaranteed the Rell stun and probably a death afterwards. So nicely done, Ryoma. He is down CS, but he's at least forcing flashes from the opposition.
Yep, putting on a little bit of pressure there. AblazeOlive, though, is farming at a very good rate. 155 farm at 14 minutes. Really nice to see that. It does just feel like people are just getting better and better at having these really high farm marks, and you can see people are taking, you know, enemy raptors away when they have pressure and things like that to really accelerate their farm. Because it does feel funny to see that someone is, you know, 132 CS at 14 minutes. That's not bad, and you're down 30. It's weird, right? It's weird to think about that. If you tell someone, oh, well, he was down 30 CS at 14 minutes, that sounds terrible. But in this case, he's farmed pretty well. It's just that his opponent has farmed exceptionally.
Yeah, and I mean, some of this is, you know, no pressure on the Orianna. So here we go. Niles going to be battling with Closer a bit in the top side, get some damage back. Ssumday's here, though, as well, and Niles, not going to get taunted, but he's still going to drop. Doesn't burn the flash, get away. Figured Closer will still get the chase regardless. He was holding on to the ulti on Hecarim the entire time, so good to not burn the longer cooldown. But it's kill number 3 for 100 Thieves, and Golden Guardians have yet to make their proactive play this game.
Yep, haven't really taken any swings just yet, just content to farm it out, but they are falling further and further behind now. Down 2k gold and looking for a play here.
Shockwave is a setup, suppression coming across as well. Hard dive coming on both sides. Shen over the top more likely as well as a 2 for nothing. The brush camp does nothing at all. It's 100 Thieves 5-0.
Yeah, 5-0 now at this point. The Mythics are coming through. You can see Closer, he's got his chem tank, and he is playing phase rush as well, so all about the move speed here. Ghost, Lucidity, move speed on the Mythic, move speed with the runes here, all about that playmaking, and their engage just feels so much more powerful, honestly, than when you're looking over at the other side. You know, newbie going in here, when you are playing Spell Thieves and you're not playing Aftershock, you are very squishy on these engages, and if you get locked down, you're pretty much just dead. No real way out here for Niles, can't burst down the Hecarim, who is playing tank, can't escape him, he's playing phase rush, and as you said, was holding on to the ultimate the entire time, so really no use in even trying to flash. And then we look back here at mid lane, Ryoma going in, does get hit by that shockwave, but Shen is already coming through with the ultimate. They barely even break through the Shen shield there with the Stand United. And yes, newbie is engaging with his ult, but as I said, no Aftershock, you're playing Spell Thieves, you're incredibly squishy. So you go in, Rell goes in, Rell has Aftershock and this massive shield from dismount, and you're CC'd up just automatically by trying to go in on top of the Rell. You are going to explode. It's so difficult, I feel, for Rakan to actually play out these circumstances. You almost can't peel for your AD at all, or for your mid laner at all, because if you shield them, you're into the Rell ultimate, you're into the stun.
Yeah. That's a tough one right here. Goredrinker now done for Niles, so the Pantheon can frontline a little bit longer, but ultimately it's really all on Stixxay and AblazeOlive in a real team fight. The Seraphs will be done soonish for the Orianna. We're only on one Mythic though for Stixxay with a completed Phantom Dancer on FBI. Like, the Teamfight power is online for 100 Thieves. The tanks all have their Mythics saved for Huhi. This is going to be a very easy forward motion for 100 Thieves right now.
PD's such a strong second item here, especially with the ability to actually just stack that up on minions. Very easy to have that prepped for fights. Very easy to be targeting things like that tank Skarner as well, and he's going to have an incredible amount of DPS. They have mid lane priority there, drop the Herald, they can move towards this potential third dragon, as Golden Guardians will be pushed back, and it's hard to really see a way in right now for Golden Guardians. They're just kind of slowly bleeding out, down over 4,000 gold now. Looks like they will not be contesting for this dragon, but they're not really getting anything for it, because Shen is actually still staying up top lane, should be able to defend that tower. Sylas is pushing out bot lane. It's not as though 100 Thieves have 5 members at the dragon and are losing turrets for it.
Nope, but we're pretty soon going to see ourselves the Dragon Soul at 23 minutes and then a Baron setup, and then the Nexus falling maybe afterwards unless we see something else come out of Golden Guardians. Unfortunately, the one fight they had was with Niles dead and Stixxay on the other lane. They tried to Orianna, Skarner, Rakan, a Sylas with a Shen ult on. That's just not going to be a kill, and need to see the next try. Need to see Golden Guardians get a kill on the board someplace other than inside their base. See if they can make that one happen as the item's still coming through. Eventually, Collector will be done for Stixxay. That'll be valuable for that play. But Niles needs to find one of the letters on his keyboard.
Yeah, my concern here is that it's already too late. You know, you're down 4,000 gold, so everyone has a QSS that really needs to worry about it. Maybe you can burst down Ryoma or something. But if you're not actually going for the Trist, it feels like really hard to actually win a team fight. There's 3 QSSs. And you have such a massive front line and a huge gold lead.
All right, Iconic pulls FBI, who QSS and gets away. Now engaged, continues in the backside of the pit. Stixxay forced to flash away after ulting backwards. The team will disengage. Golden Guardian stays alive, but easy cooldown use for 100 Thieves, gets him away and with a health bar lead.
Maybe there's some sort of window where you can try to punish not having a QSS, but the problem is they used flash ulti on the Rakan there. They used a lot of their tools. Still yet to see an ultimate, I think, the entire game from Niles, closing in on 20 minutes now at this point, and 100 Thieves are just willing to continue putting on the pressure. You know, they are less cooldown reliant and also spent less cooldowns in that previous fight. If you can't get to Tristana with your Skarner ult, with the Rakan ult, there's no winning a fight. They know that, and they are going to push forward. They have experience advantages, they have item advantages, they have cooldown advantages at this point, and Golden Guardians are just really getting run over so far.
Ssumday aggressive, doesn't go for the taunt just yet. There's enough defense for Golden Guardians, but now the flash shockwave catches FBI, flashes away from the knockup. How about the re-engage? Will it be any more? Pantheon trying to walk into range. Huge engage for Rell, and the follow-ups there on top. Beautifully done, 4 for nothing, and Niles is just there too late. Summoner TP comes in, not gonna find anything else. The ace out of the turret, the Bud Light ace for 100 Thieves. FBI dies in the end. Once again, prevented from a perfect game versus Golden Guardians. Good guy FBI, but an easy recall to set up back on the map.
Yeah, they are just dominating. The Bud Light ace coming through here. Let's watch it one more time. They knew so many cooldowns were missing. AblazeOlive does hit the shockwave, but the re-engage was enormous. Huhi over the wall, flash, WR, pulling them all in, locking them up with the attract, repel, stun to follow that up. The Hecarim fear over top. The Shen stand united, the taunt, everything is there. And they just completely demolish them. Luckily, at the very least, FBI died to the tower. So perfect game no longer on the table here. But 100 Thieves are just playing such a dominant game. It's not going to get any easier here for Golden Guardians. It's like they didn't even try to make a play before all the luxury items came through, you know? It felt like the first Skarner ultimates we're seeing in the game, the entire team already has QSS.
Yeah, basically true, honestly. Here we go. Pantheon will come over for Ssumday. Bit of damage here out of Stixxay. Putting the autos across. They're going to find that stun. He's got flash. It's not going to matter. There we go. We could have seen that one 15 minutes ago, and it might have been a different look, but at least a kill is on the board of their own volition. Orianna pushing down the bottom side. Mid lane being cleared. That'll be a turret trade, plus the unanswered kill. Golden Guardians slightly sneaking back in. Orianna, so far so good. 8-stack Magi's on this.
Good play there in the side lanes. They will get a kill. They will get a tower. They're going to need a lot more of that if they want to try to sneak their way back into this game. But 100 Thieves was answering on the bottom side. They're setting up around Baron. Look at all their vision in the blue side jungle of Golden Guardians as well. There's 3 pink wards over there. They are ready for this soul. When you look over at Golden Guardians' team and you think about Pantheon and Orianna and Rakan, it's kind of this one-punch team fight where they're trying to hard engage and blow someone up instantly. If you lose Mountain Soul while being down already, you know, 6,000 to 7,000 gold, I don't think you ever are going to kill someone off really in a reasonable fight. So they know that it's going to be a contest here. 100 Thieves are the ones setting up faster. They have Ssumday pushing out top lane, but he does have the Stand United available here. And Ryoma critically has the Skarner ultimate, which could be pretty big if someone walks a little bit more forward.
Closer gets stunned, though, still looking for newbie. Not going to find the engages, but keep in mind, Realma has a Skarner ulti, as you mentioned. Now it's going to be the backwards push for Stixxay. Still going to drop him. FBI gets the kill. The pullback suppression onto Ssumday. He does not have QSS, and they will find another kill. But it's a 2-for-1 in favor of 100 Thieves, and that means they get to walk at this dragon and claim a 23-minute Mountain Soul.
Yep, with Stixxay down, not really anything they can do. I mean, they're moving up towards the Baron, but without Kaisa, there's no world in which you can actually threaten that. So 100 Thieves doesn't even have to be worried. There's no way you can actually DPS that down quickly enough. This was a pretty big force here for 100 Thieves, but they knew they were far enough ahead to really get away with it. Closer just going straight towards Stixxay, gets back to him, ulti, fear, Stand United over top. Good CC layering out of the fear with the taunt. Yes, Ssumday gets ulted into the tower and does get taken down, but the stolen Skarner ultimate gets a kill at the same time. And again, 100 Thieves coming out way ahead here, up even more gold, Mountain Soul in their pockets. They can look to threaten Baron. They can play side lanes, and really, they can close out this game however they want.
Yeah, credit to 100 Thieves for a good fight. Do want to shout out Iconic for target selection, realizing the only QSS targets are Sylas and Shen. And as soon as he saw Shen ult on close, said, okay, I'm going to wait. Once he sees Ssumday, I'll ult him and pull him across. That's the call. That's what he waited for, and at least they got one back. But yeah, it's minor victories in a game that is running headfirst towards defeat, as 100 Thieves are consistently getting more and more done. And here we go. Yeah, as you mentioned, luxury items, QSS still a 3 count right now. Otherwise, an armor stacked Shen's going to be comfy. And the Baron setup is beginning as they're going to start getting all the wards down and making sure that Golden Guardians don't have any of their own.
Realma with a very confident build here, to be honest. The Magi's instead of the QSS when you are one of the few squishy members, but he has been snowballing. He feels like he can continue to do it. Golden Guardians looking to set a trap, but 100 Thieves just going topside.
Niles puts up the shield, takes no damage from Closer's charge, and easy enough escape. Iconic wants to go again, and again, Sylas can be the answer. Iconic doesn't want to go quite far enough. It would have been an overcommit, and falls back. Doesn't get the ulti out of Ssumday or anything else. Nearly found it, didn't want to burn the flash. Could have been an option. decided not to, and maybe rightly so. But Thieves filtering back out, and someone's got to answer in the bot lane soon as Ssumday has cleared that wave.
It's also scary because Ryoma also had the Skarner ultimate, so if you flash in his iconic, there's the possibility that he actually Skarner ults you first, and then it's an absolute disaster.
Yes.
But with Shen down in that bottom lane, with all the warding around the Baron, you can tell that their clear objective is to be threatening that Baron. FBI can push up here as people look to answer Ssumday down in that bottom lane. Closer Ryoma threatening the wraparound here. FBI steps up, knocks down the turret very easily. And if you send too many members down here to answer Ssumday, well, it's going to be a Baron take on the other side for 100 Thieves. And it looks like Golden Guardians are considering going over towards Ssumday, who is going to be a really, really tanky member. You know, unless you have the Orianna over there, he has so much armor, no one can really threaten any sort of burst down on him.
And here we go. Baron taking a bunch of damage. Ryoma going to sit on the outside, still holding Skarner ulti. Can keep Iconic away from the pit to make smites almost impossible. Ryoma going to catch him on the outside. How's it feel? The sting, buddy. There we go. Knocking it down. And in a 5v4 without a jungler, they're going to start the Baron yet again. No defense possible. Golden Guardians might try in desperation in the 4v5 and hope that a miracle shockwave happens. Stixxay over the top, but Huhi dives in for one. Here comes the rest. Shockwave comes in to help, but it's not going to be nearly enough. The charm, the runaway. Niles can't do much more than watch his team die. Goes for some. Okay, FBI a bit too frisky there, but the follow-up is here. Ryoma on a rampage, and the rest of the kills come through. Another Bud Light ace for 100 Thieves.
Crushing through this game. The Baron should be theirs as well. FBI getting pretty hypey, jumping directly on both the soul laners' heads there. They were still at full health, so strong enough to knock him down, but it is the Bud Light ace. I like the 100 Thieves are taking no chances. The flank coming through from Ryoma, finding the Skarner ultimate to get the initial pick. And then instead of going for, yes, it's a low chance at a steal, but maybe AblazeOlive has the miracle steal with a shockwave or something, so why even risk it? Go over the wall, turn for the fight. Again, Stixxay just locked down 100-0. He will get killed off, and Iconic, oh no, Scar.
Just again. At least he can flash this time, but Ryoma's in the chase. Blue Smite gets the chains, and Ryoma is unstoppable. Finally, they knock down the Baron.
He's going to need a QSS for his own ulti at this rate. This is terrible. He's been killed more times with his ultimate than he has killed people with the ultimate. That just feels terrible.
That's bad, but at least Ryoma will flash away. They get a summoner spell, the ult comes across, and a shutdown goes to Stixxay plus a teleport to save. So Ssumday's now alone. This might not deserve the game, but it will maybe be 2 kills. Just kidding, they've galloped back in. A shockwave and a 2. Stixxay already dead. Niles can find the damage for 1. How about the rest? FBI hitting, ult's back. Niles might just die. FBI just does so much damage, and Golden Guardians once again must run away. Closer's on the chase, doesn't find the charge though as it times out. Still on the run. A quick heal comes across, a charm and a runaway. A little defensive ult out of newbie. Long-term a 2-for-2 fight, but Baron is on the table and it's time, or the buff is on I should say, and it's time to push down the base.
Tristana just shreds these towers so fast at this point in the game. They have that bottom lane wave pushing in. They're going to take this middle inhibitor, could just head down towards bot if they want, but they're looking for the reset. Probably going to start preparing for the potential Elder Dragon here in 50 seconds. They're really close things out. The IE has already come through. It's QSS plus stopwatch on FBI. You can see the QSS has also come through for Huhi. No, excuse me, he's had that for quite some time. So looking really good, all things 100 Thieves. Golden Guardians, I think their time in this game really has passed. Stixxay, he just needs too many items to be relevant. It feels like he's getting crowd controlled 100-0, but if you pit stop for a QSS, well, you don't really do any damage against the 3 frontliners on 100 Thieves, so you can't really hope to kill them. And you're kind of just in this lose-lose situation as the Kaisa at this point in the game, where you basically just have to hope that you somehow have a miracle fight where you don't get CC'd and can kill them all. But there's just too much engage, too much CC in every single fight. Stixxay is just getting absolutely destroyed by the hard engage, and newbie's trying to counter engage and peel for him, but it's AoE CC. So the Rakan has just felt worthless. You know, you go for the counter engage and you just walk into the Rell ultimate, walk into the Hecarim fear, walk into the Rell stun, and just die with your teammate.
And this was the matchup Golden Guardians wanted, right? They took the Skarner Kaisa round 1, said, okay, go take Rell. We know you want to play it sometimes, Huhi. All right, cool. Rakan's the answer. Ooh, we lost lane? Ooh, unlucky. Sure, there were some ganks, but even in the 2-on-2, it was already a little tragic. So, unfortunately, Golden Guardians, the most counter-picked player for them is, in fact, newbie, and they couldn't find a win with that one. Now, Ssumday going to be found out yet again. They're going to find the 3-on-1. They should likely get the kill with Shockwave over the top, but Elder Dragon's already been taken, and the re-engage is in. Ssumday might not even die. You got to be kidding me. Niles picks up one, but can he get any more? Big damage on Orianna as he takes down one. A 1-for-1 fight so far, but the 4v4 looks pretty hard in Thieves' favor. A double kill over there. FBI is in. Newbie, goodbye. And now it's time for the last one. Stixxay can only run away. Orianna just kept drain taking him. A triple kill for the new look mid laner. 100 Thieves finally get a win with this lineup. They lost the other two this week, but they will grab one yet again. They will improve to 9 wins, where the other second place tied teams are. And we will wait for their last week play to see where they're going to end up. Knocking down the last of the minions. Another quick dive coming across. Ouch! That was fast. Down goes AblazeOlive, 100 Thieves. It's another Bud Light ace for good measure. A 30-minute victory over Golden Guardians, once again, just shy of second place.
This one was an absolute slaughter. 25 kills for 100 Thieves in 30 minutes. Almost hit a kill a minute in that game. Ryoma having a good one, but really across the board, 100 Thieves looking very, very strong. The early double kill for FBI, setting him up for success. The engages from Ssumday, Closer, and Huhi were really looking on point here. And I just think that Golden Guardians didn't push enough with the tools that they had early to try to really test 100 Thieves, and you just allowed 100 Thieves to play the game at their pace, always being the one looking for the engage, never really on the back foot. And we got to see 100 Thieves that look proactive, that look dominant, and it's a good thing to see.
Yep, well, math or not, the Golden Guardians Miracle Run is certainly not looking good right now, as they are still only at 2 wins, closing out their 5th week of the regular season. We'll see if they can get any more down the line and how that looks for the rest of the year, but it's another 100 Thieves win and a well-played one at that. So it's time for us to step away. When we return, Ryoma will be talking with Dash in the Verizon postgame interview.